Hidden in the forests of upstate New York lies a pioneering place that connected people with nature, for better or for worse.
Growing up here was kind of desolate, kind of barren. It's wild, it's primitive, and in the end, it's very peaceful.
The Catskills are now this vacation hotspot, but they're also a place shrouded in history and legends.
In the summer months, it's a jungle here, but in the winter, it's freezing cold and frigid. This change in weather over the year just chews up any building that isn't maintained.
This place looks like a tourist attraction that time has forgotten. It's always extra creepy to go to abandoned places where you know that people had lots of fun.
This was my Disney World growing up, and coming down here was like, everything back in the day.
Through the trees, a number of distinct structures stand out.
Peeking out of the forest, there are hints of what this place used to be. There are enclosures, cages, a small amphitheater. Makes me think that it was a zoo of some sort.
But this venue of entertainment harbored a dark secret.
This place must have been shut down for a reason. But why was it preserved like this, kept in a state of suspended abandonment?
Some find it creepy here at night, but walking around at night here is a whole nother experience. A fun experience.
Sean Johnson has been coming here since he was a child. He's now in charge of keeping the memory of this place alive.
I first came here in 1977, me and my two sisters. Totally amazed, blown away. It was something new around every corner. New experience, new smell, new wonder, new animal. Magical.
Covering 1,000 acres, this is the oldest private zoo in America. This is the Catskill Game Farm.
The Catskills have always been a vacation destination for rich New Yorkers. This place began as a hobby in the 1930s for a New York banker named Roland Lindemann.
He filled it with varieties of deer, which he raised to be hunted or sold to other farms.
But the game farm soon drew attention because of its ideal location.
Back in the day, this is a very, very, very popular tourist area. Due to the mountains, the scenery, they bring people up from the city for the summers. They'd be here all summer long.
The increased affordability of automobiles in the 1940s led to a boom in middle-class vacationers coming to the Catskills. Lindemann soon realized he would have an even more lucrative business if he created a petting zoo with the offspring of his game animals.
Children during the post-war baby boom loved the Catskill Game Farm because they could feed baby animals. By 1950, nearly 200,000 visitors were visiting the game farm yearly, and they had almost 1,000 animals which could be seen.
The game farm was officially recognized as a zoological park by the Department of Agriculture in 1958, making Roland Lindemann the first private zoo owner in the nation.
I believe his passion was conservation and restoration to the wild and expanding people's experiences with different species. Some of the real exotic species they had here was the white rhino. That was my favorite animal as a kid. To me, it looked like a dinosaur. The skin color, the horns, the whole nine. To me, that was like a unicorn.
Roland Lindemann was born in Germany and hired a fellow German, George Heck, to be the game farm's zoological director. But Heck's family had a dark history.
George Heck's father, Lutz Heck, was director of the Berlin Zoological Garden. He was also a hunting partner with Hermann Goering, which made him essentially the chief zoological officer for the Nazi Party.
Lutz Heck put his knowledge to good use as the Nazis invaded Poland in September 1939.
At the beginning of the war, Poland fell to the Nazi blitzkrieg in 5 weeks. Lutz Heck would be a key figure in the plundering of Warsaw Zoo, convincing the authorities that he would protect the animals.
Nazis' attitudes toward these rare species was the same as it was towards art. They would loot these animals and send them back to Germany.
But that was not the limit of Hitler's plans for the wild creatures of Europe. He wanted to bring a species back from the dead, with Lutz Heck leading the charge.
Lutz Heck was also key to trying to resurrect the European aurochs, a wild ox that had gone extinct and was at one time a symbol of the German people.
The aurochs program was kind of a pet project of Adolf Hitler's. The idea was that he would repopulate the conquered areas of Poland and the Soviet Union with this giant ox that was somehow symbolically representative of the German people, a kind of zoological Lebensraum. But the whole breeding program was a failure.
George Heck inherited a fascination for zoology from his father, but fortunately it led him down a more legitimate path at the Catskill Game Farm. His partnership with Roland Lindemann proved to be a success, as they imported a number of unique, near-extinct species.
At its height, the zoo was attracting nearly 500,000 visitors annually, but by the end of the 20th century, its fortunes were in steep decline.
As with many attractions in the Catskills, the 70s and 80s and the promise of cheap airfare led to a decline of the game farm.
It's easier to fly to the Bahamas than it would become driving 2 hours north to go to a zoo. But you know, the resorts closed down one by one. Everybody's out of work. I mean, to me, it was really bad.
To keep the zoo open, Roland Lindemann continued to rely on the original purpose of the game farm.
Unfortunately, many of these animals were sent to private ranches for canned hunts. A canned hunt is essentially a situation where wealthy high rollers seek out the opportunity to kill game animals who probably were raised in tame environments and set into enclosed areas for these hunters to get their kill easily.
This was the dark side to the park. The animals that were fed by children for years were ultimately sold to hunting ranches when they got too big to be petted.
Although hunting is a very popular national pastime, this particular type, canned hunting, is of questionable legality, and 20 states have laws limiting it or banning it altogether.
But these sales were not enough to save the park, and eventually its assets and animals were auctioned off.
On the day of the auction, people showed up from all over the country to bid on the remaining animals. And amongst them were operators of canned hunts, but also animal rights activists.
Fortunately, there was a coordinated effort on the part of the conservationists to buy as many animals as possible. They were successful, and they even saved 2 white rhinos from canned hunts.
After over 70 years of operation, the Catskill Game Farm closed in 2006. Almost 20 years after its closure, some animals have returned.
They're my babies. Make me happy. Make me feel complete.
Tourism has also returned to these mountains, and the game farm's new owners are in the process of updating some of the buildings.
The old giraffe house has been turned into a hotel, aptly named the Long Neck Inn, for tourists to come and experience some nostalgia.
I wake up every day picturing myself that I'm in a dream, that I'm actually running the Catskill Game Farm. To me, it's a privilege. I love it. Absolutely love it.